Life in the UK test. Mock exam 3. Real practice questions and answers. Preparing for the Life in the UK test. This video provides a realistic exam simulation with carefully selected questions based on the official Life in the UK Handbook, covering all key topics required for the British Citizenship Test and Indefinite Leave to Remain, ILR. This mock exam includes questions from the values and principles of the UK. What is the UK? A long and illustrious history. A modern, thriving society. The UK government, the law and your role. To pass the real Life in the UK test, you need 18 correct answers out of 24 questions. Practicing mock exams like this is one of the best ways to prepare and build the confidence you need before the real test. Let's start. What did Henry VII do? Restricted king's power. Broke away from the Church of Rome. Increased the power of the nobles. Reduced the power of the nobles. Reduced the power of the nobles. Henry VII wanted to make sure that England remained peaceful and that his position as king was secure. He deliberately strengthened the central administration of England and reduced the power of the nobles. Who is responsible for crime and immigration? Chancellor of the Exchequer. Secretary of State. Home Secretary. Foreign Secretary. Home Secretary is responsible for crime, policing and immigration. When did the English Civil War begin? In 1646. In 1641. In 1642. In 1640. In 1642. Civil war between the king and parliament could not now be avoided and began in 1642. The country split into those who supported the king, the Cavaliers, and those who supported parliament, the Roundheads. Which of these is not a music festival? Glastonbury. Creamfields. The Fringe. The Isle of Wight Festival. The Fringe. Music festival season takes place across the UK every summer, with major events in various locations. Famous festivals include Glastonbury, the Isle of Wight Festival and Creamfields. The Fringe is a showcase of mainly theatre and comedy performances. In 1284 King Edward I of England introduced the Statute of Rhuddlan, which annexed Wales to the Crown of England. True or false? True. In 1284 King Edward I of England introduced the Statute of Rhuddlan, which annexed Wales to the Crown of England. The Scottish Parliament, after the Magna Carta was established in England, was split into two estates, the Lords and the Commons. True or false? False. In England, the nobility, great landowners and bishops sat in the House of Lords. Knights, who were usually smaller landowners, and wealthy people from towns and cities were elected to sit in the House of Commons. Only a small part of the population was able to join in electing the members of the Commons. In Scotland, the Parliament had three houses, called estates: the Lords, the Commons and the clergy. What is the shadow cabinet? The cabinet that is in trouble. The name of the office of the leader of the opposition in the Parliament. Senior member of the main opposition party who shadow government ministers in different departments. The cabinet where the Prime Minister had to resign. Senior member of the main opposition party who shadow government ministers in different departments. The leader of the opposition leads his or her party in pointing out what they see as the government's failures and weaknesses. The leader of the opposition also appoints senior opposition MPs to be shadow ministers. They form the shadow cabinet and their role is to challenge the government and put forward alternative policies. When were the Anglo-Saxon kingdoms established in England? By AD 500. By AD 600. By AD 550. By AD 410. By about AD 600, Anglo-Saxon kingdoms were established in Britain. These kingdoms were mainly in what is now England. Who wrote about their experiences in the First World War? Lord Byron and John Masefield. Wilfred Owen and William Blake. Wilfred Owen and Siegfried Sassoon. Elizabeth and Robert Browning. Wilfred Owen and Siegfried Sassoon were inspired to write about their experiences in the First World War. Discrimination in the workplace is a criminal offense. True or false? False. An example of civil laws are disputes over wages and cases of unfair dismissal or discrimination in the workplace. Conditions in Ireland in the 19th century were much better than in the rest of the UK. True or false? False. Conditions in Ireland were not as good as in the rest of the UK. 2/3 of the population still depended on farming to make their living, often on very small plots of land. Many depended on potatoes as a large part of their diet. In the middle of the century the potato crop failed, and Ireland suffered a famine. 1 million people died from disease and starvation. What is the Giant's Causeway made of? Iron. Bronze. Volcanic lava. Stone. Volcanic lava. Located on the northeast coast of Northern Ireland, the Giant's Causeway is a land formation of columns made from volcanic lava. It was formed about 50 million years ago. There are many legends about the causeway and how it was formed. When did the BBC begin the world's first regular TV service? In 1922. In 1938. In 1936. In 1921. In 1936. The BBC started radio broadcasts in 1922 and began the world's first regular television service in 1936. Radar was developed by Scotsman Sir Robert Watson Watt. True or false? True. Radar was developed by Scotsman Sir Robert Watson Watt, 1892 to 1973, who proposed that enemy aircraft could be detected by radio waves. The first successful radar test took place in 1935. Satirical magazines began to be published in the 19th century. When was Punch first published? 1890s, 1810s, 1870s, 1840s. (1840s). Punch was published for the first time in the 1840s. Other than London universities, which university was credited with the discovery of the DNA molecule in 1953? Cambridge, Edinburgh, Oxford, Aberdeen. Cambridge. The structure of the DNA molecule was discovered in 1953 through work at British universities in London and Cambridge. This discovery contributed to many scientific advances, particularly in medicine and fighting crime. Francis Crick, 1916 to 2004, one of those awarded the Nobel Prize for this discovery, was British. Which architectural style are the famous London buildings of the 19th century, such as the House of Parliament and St Pancras Station, associated with? Roman, Gothic, Indian, Catholic. Gothic. In the 19th century, the medieval Gothic style became popular again. As cities expanded, many great public buildings were built in this style. The Houses of Parliament and St Pancras Station were built at this time, as were the town halls in cities such as Manchester and Sheffield. During the reigns of Elizabeth I and James I, where did the English government encourage Scottish and English Protestants to settle? Ulster, Edinburgh, East London, Cardiff. Ulster. During the reigns of Elizabeth I and James I, many people in Ireland opposed rule by the Protestant government in England. There were a number of rebellions. The English government encouraged Scottish and English Protestants to settle in Ulster, the northern province of Ireland, taking over the land from Catholic landholders. These settlements were known as plantations. What destroyed London in year 1666? Nuclear plant, fire, water, plague. Fire. In 1666, a huge fire broke out and destroyed a large part of London. Many buildings were lost, including lots of churches and St. Paul's Cathedral. This event is known as the Great Fire of London. What can the laws made by the EU also be called? Framework decisions, directives, regulations. All of these. All of these. EU law is legally binding in the UK and all the other EU member states. European laws are called directives, regulations, or framework decisions. Whom did the serfs serve? Knights, lords, peasants, slaves. Lords. The Normans used a system of land ownership known as feudalism. The king gave land to his lords in return for help in war. Landowners had to send certain numbers of men to serve in the army. Some peasants had their own land, but most were serfs. The Victoria Cross Medal was introduced during which war? The Crimean War, the First World War, the Second World War, the 100 Years' War. The Crimean War. Queen Victoria introduced the Victoria Cross Medal during the Crimean War. It honors acts of valor by soldiers. Which two things happened when Mary Stuart's husband got murdered? She fled to France. She gave her throne to Elizabeth I. She was suspected of involvement in the murder. She asked Elizabeth I for help. She was suspected of involvement in the murder and she asked Elizabeth I for help. The Queen of Scotland, Mary Stuart, often now called Mary, Queen of Scots, was a Catholic. She was only a week old when her father died and she became queen. Much of her childhood was spent in France. When she returned to Scotland, she was the centre of a power struggle between different groups. When her husband was murdered, Mary was suspected of involvement and fled to England. She gave her throne to her Protestant son, James VI of Scotland. Mary was Elizabeth's first cousin and hoped that Elizabeth might help her, but Elizabeth suspected Mary of wanting to take over the English throne, and kept her a prisoner for 20 years. Mary was eventually executed, accused of plotting against Elizabeth I. What is the divine right of kings? Increased power of the Parliament. Reduced the power of the nobles. The king was appointed by God. Reduce the power of the king. The king was appointed by God. Divine right of kings is the idea that the king was directly appointed by God to rule. The king should be able to act without having to seek approval from Parliament. Well done for completing mock exam 03. So, how did you do this time? Remember, you need at least 18 correct answers out of 24 questions to pass the real life in the UK test. If your score is improving, you're on the right path. If not, don't worry, every mock exam you complete brings you closer to success. Stay consistent, keep practicing, and your confidence will grow with every test. Like this video if it helped. Share your score in the comments. Subscribe for more mock exams and study guides. Keep going, you've got this. See you in the next mock exam.